Hi, friends. It's Josh coming to you today with a little bit of a video message. I haven't put up one of these out in a while, so I wanted to come to you today and share with you not only some wisdom that comes from the dead, I want to share with you some frustration that I'm having. I taught a class well before COVID, and one of the women in the class, we started talking about some of the frustrations that happen in my life. Some of you don't know, I have a biological son of 17 years. He's 17 years old, and my husband and I have full custody of him, and he hasn't had a very easy road because of some of the things in his life. And this woman, she said to me, she goes, "Wow, I can't believe you're real. I can't believe you have struggles and all of that." I am real. I'm human. I'm just a fellow that's on this path trying to figure things out and help people along the way. I have been very frustrated lately, and I had a good friend share with me some wisdom. And she said, "Wow, I can definitely tell you get an edge." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's hard not to. Right now it's August 15th, and it's the middle of summer, and boy, oh boy, if you're aware of anything that's going on out in the world right now, it's tough to be exposed to it. It's tough to not be caught up into it and develop that mob mentality. It's very, very hard because we're humans. We're social creatures. We appreciate and are drawn towards other people, especially those people that feel the way we do about things. At this point in my path in my life and with what I do, I have given thousands of readings, thousands of them, and I've come across thousands of spirits, thousands of ancestors of our loved ones, and they have shared with me wisdom, and I'm so grateful for that. The wisdom that the dead have is so unlike the wisdom that the living have, because where are you going to get wisdom? You're going to get wisdom from experience, right? If you want advice or wisdom about parenting, are you going to ask somebody who's been a parent, or are you going to ask somebody who has no idea about parenting and has never been a parent? If you want advice on how to get through the local grocery store, you're going to ask people who've been through the local grocery store. You're going to ask people who've never been through the local grocery store. It's the same way with life. When we get through life and we get to the other side of life, boy, we have a lot of perspective. We gain a lot of wisdom. And just as our souls evolve in life, our souls continue to evolve in death. I'm very lucky to have experienced all of that wisdom and love that comes from them. And I have found that they, the dead, our ancestors and loved ones, they have a lot of perspective, yes, but they try to bring that to us in a way that is understandable. And what I have found in my experience, and I need to stress that my experience is different than everybody else's out there. What I found in my experience with the dead is that they truly believe in something that I have called the four pillars. Four pillars. And I refer to them as the four pillars of a life well lived. The four pillars of a life well lived. It's interesting if you've ever worked in nursing or hospice and listened to people talk about their regrets and what they wish they had done differently. It really lines up with these four pillars. The first pillar is love. Love. The love that we have for each other, the love that we should have for ourselves, the love that we have for our family, communities, pets, other living creatures, the land. Love, 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 love. Love is the first pillar. The second pillar is joy. Joy, unbridled joy. This isn't being happy, this isn't having fun, although being happy and having fun can bring you to joy. I'm talking about bliss, joy and bliss. And the type of joy that I'm referring to is the type of joy that pulls you out for just a brief moment from the bullshit of your life, right? Because we all have bullshit in our lives. We all have stresses, worries, obligations, responsibilities, work, family, all of these things that remove us from joy. But it's very important to our spirits and very important for ourselves to find joy. I'll give you an example. Joy for me is getting together with family and friends and doing escape rooms. And if you've never done an escape room is where you get locked into this room with your friends and family, and you have a mystery to solve and a story to solve. And while you're in there, you are so consumed with the fun. It's almost meditative in the way that all your bullshit falls away, right? All of it falls away. And for a brief moment, you are experiencing joy. The third pillar is peace. No drama, no heartache, no conflict, right? Peace. Peace. And this is really important from just a personal level all the way up to the global level, right? The global level. And that one's pretty self-explanatory. The fourth pillar is togetherness. For lack of a better way to explain it, it's family, it's friends, it's tribe, it's community, togetherness. Love, joy, peace, togetherness. And spirit, our ancestors, our loved ones, they are idealists, sometimes to a fault. I'll have a lot of spirits and ancestors come through and say, hey, listen, you got to quit your job. It's killing you. It's hurting you. It's stressing you out. It's having an effect on your body. And the person will look right at me and be like, well, I can't really quit my job. The spirit will be like, I don't care what's going on. Just quit it. Stop. Go do something else, right? That is something, I'll give that example of work, something that separates us from love, joy, peace, and togetherness. And as humans, while we're here in this brief incarnation as a human, we must reject everything that separates us from love, joy, peace, and togetherness. And while that might sound like hokey New Ageism or hokey spirituality, it's not. It's actually very practical. Everything that separates us from love, joy, peace, togetherness, we must reject. We must get rid of it. I love the example of a dog, right? If a dog left to its devices, left to its own nature, will know love for its humans, love for the other animals and dogs in its household and community. Joy, man, a dog just wants to play in water, run after a ball. Joy, right? Peace, dog doesn't want to have conflict. Isaac, my husband, and I, we have a half German Shepherd, half Pit Bull. His name is Indiana. And a lot of people have issues with Pit Bulls, right? This dog is the most loving, peaceful dog that you would ever ask to see, right? And what makes him loving and peaceful is that togetherness, being with his humans, being with Sasha, his sister, our other dog. Dogs, in their very nature, left to their very nature and devices, will know love, joy, peace, and togetherness. So we could learn a lot from those wonderful animals that are our companions. And this goes back to the frustration that I feel, right? Lately, I have found that the thing in my life that is the worst thing, the worst part of my life is social media. Social media is, as far as I'm concerned, a necessary evil in our world, especially for people like myself who have, businesses, who are entrepreneurs, who need to connect to a larger audience. And it's really interesting to see the effects of social media on people, how it will increase that mob mentality, right? How it will just get people all riled up. And I have been guilty of that. And I'm so sad about that, because I find social media a place where most of the time you are preaching to the choir, people who believe what you believe and feel what you feel, or preaching to the deaf, people who, it doesn't matter how many facts or instances of information that you can present for that way you feel or the things that you believe, you're either preaching to the choir or preaching to the deaf. And I know there's exceptions to the rule, and I have some great friends out on social media who fight the good fight and, really try to sway people, sometimes with aggression, sometimes with peace, to feel and see what they're feeling and seeing. And sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't. Social media, like I said, is a necessary evil. When we have a necessary evil in our life, what do we do with it? We gotta mitigate it. We have to minimize its effect on us. It's interesting that the worst thing in my life right now, in my life directly, not in the life of everyone else and not in the world, right? I'm not speaking for anybody but myself. The worst thing in my life is social media, the way it makes me feel, the way it makes my heart hurt, the way that I see people who I believe are intelligent, compassionate people falling for propaganda. And this is on both sides. And we say as Americans, both sides, the Democratic and Republicans. And we're given that fence that we have to be on either side of, and that creates division. And when you create division, you create control. And I see all sorts of people falling for this stuff. I see people lacking critical thinking skills. And it hurts me because I see people that I've known for just a short period of time and I've come to love. I've seen people that I've known my entire life. And they show me that they're human. And I must maintain compassion. I, myself, must maintain compassion for those humans because we are the products of a broken world. I don't believe that any one of us are truly broken. I believe that we are all the products of a broken world. And we are all the products of a million different influences, cultural, spiritual, chemical, familial, all of these things that we are a product of. From the get-go, we are born perfect, and I believe we remain perfect. And I believe the things that corrupt us, if you will, come from outside influences. And again, there's exceptions to every rule. So what I've been doing in my life is that I have fought against the addictive nature of social media as best I can, trying not to look at it in the first hour or two of my day. I have a very wise friend, and I hope she's watching this, who she's learning some Ayurvedic medicine and philosophies, and we had this conversation, and she said, it's your breakfast. Not only it's what you eat in the beginning of the day and what you're bringing into your body that you're digesting, but it's the information. It's what you're taking in. It's really setting the stage for the day. So what I would have anybody watching this do is try to not watch or read or look at social media first thing. It is a very addictive thing, right? It is a very addictive thing. And I've found myself going, okay, reaching for my phone, or, it's difficult. I'm human. And I think that everybody who's on social media can fall into that trap of being addicted to it and needing, right, that confirmation and validation. And then some people get kind of addicted to that anger that they feel. So myself, what I've done is I have unfriended some folks and show blatant racism, whether they know it's blatant or not. I can't have them in my sphere, right? This happened to me the other day. I had a great friend who shared something really awful, and I confronted her with it, and she's just like, that's just my wacky sense of humor. I'm not racist. That's just my wacky sense of humor. I have people of all colors that I'm friends, and I'm like, no, this is not right. When you can't see that what you're sharing is racist and how that makes you somebody that's racist and exclusionary, I have to separate myself from you. I'm going to try to do my best to remove myself from those things in this world that keep me away from love, joy, peace, and togetherness, right? And what that woman put out into her social media sphere, and that's absolutely her right to do it, separates herself unknowingly and separates those who are exposed to it from love, joy, peace, togetherness. And I'll tell you, my days have been a lot better since I haven't dived right into social media first thing. So I'd recommend that to you. I'd also ask you to look at the things that you're putting out there. I have been guilty in the past month or so of putting some stuff out there that have driven people away from me because I'm so frustrated and I'm so caught up in that mob mentality. So I'm trying to go back to sharing beauty, sharing things that hopefully whoever sees it, however they see it, will bring them some joy and peace in their world, beauty, togetherness. Those things in our world that we are exposed to, those things in our world that we put out there on social media and to our communities, if they're separating us from love, joy, peace, and togetherness, we need to pause. We need to look at that, and we need to say, what am I getting out of this, right? There's no more practical wisdom than the wisdom of our dead loved ones, our ancestors. All the time, they'll just say to me, listen, what can you affect right now in front of you? What can you control? Right? You're frustrated with the national stage? Vote. frustrated with your local state representatives, vote. What can you do right now that will make a difference? And if you can't do anything right now to make a difference, you can't sweat it. You can't let it bother you. Can't let it consume you. You can't let it remove you from love, joy, peace, and togetherness. Togetherness of family, togetherness of community, togetherness of nations, togetherness of the world. So that's something that I hope you can bring into your world and your life just a little bit, right? If it separates us from love, if it separates us from joy, if it separates us from peace, if it separates us from togetherness, reject it, discard it, and move away from it. And then mind the things that you're doing to put that out there. Are you separating people from love, joy, peace, togetherness? We do have to fight the good fight. We do have to stand up for what we believe in. But we also have to mind the balance, right? Where we have nothing but heartache and pain coming our way because of the things that we're putting out there and the things that we're sharing and the things that we're exposing ourselves to. I've unfriended some folks. I've unfollowed a lot of folks on my social media feeds because I can't take the poison that they're putting out there unknowingly. I can't take the heartache and the hurt that they're putting out there. And I can't take watching people just feed into it, feed into the propaganda, feed into the lies, feed into the lack of critical thinking skills. I've come to realize that that's not my fight, right? My fight's in front of me. My fight's what can I do right in front of me with my community, and how can I do something like this and hopefully make a little bit of a difference in somebody's life. So please, watch what you're being exposed to, watch what you're believing, watch, research everything that's coming at you. Because everything that's coming at you most of the time has an agenda behind it. And if you're just unknowingly and without any sort of care for what's happening there, when you share these things and push them out into the world and those things separate people from love, joy, peace, togetherness, you're also feeding somebody else's agenda. I see it all the time. Fake stuff being put out there. All sorts of fake stuff being put out there because somebody, whoever created it, had an agenda and wanted to manipulate people. There's so many people out there being manipulated right now. It's really sad. And I've had to draw a line in the sand and say, I can't take it. I can't do it anymore. I have to remove myself from these people who are unwittingly separating themselves from love, joy, peace, and togetherness. So, long video. I hope it does something for you. I hope that you can shift the way you interact with necessary evils in your life, social media or any other media or any other influence in your life, to kind of mitigate it and make sure that it's not hurting your heart. The 4 pillars of a life well lived. Do everything you can to cultivate them. Love, joy, peace, togetherness. Please be well.